What is up, guys? Welcome back to today's episode of the Sort of Strongman podcast. My name is Isaac Rogers, joined, as always, by my co-host, Brandon Jordan. Brandon, how are we doing today after training?
I'm doing all right. I'm getting prepped for Strongman Core Nationals, and that death medley event is very aptly named.
Yeah, Derek loves a little pain event. If you've ever seen any of his shows, like his the what's it called, the North Texas Strength Expo, whenever he does those shows down there, usually a regional. I've seen some of the medleys they put on down there, and I'm like, I'm glad I'm over here, not over there doing whatever that is. But for today's topics, we're going to be going over the podiums for America's Strongest Teen. We want to talk a little bit about Thor's recent unfortunate failure at 5'11 again, and North America's Strongest Man, which is coming up, I believe, next week. Should be next week. So it's going to be a pretty exciting show. And Brandon, you said you had the podiums pulled up for America's Strongest Teen?
Yeah, absolutely. I just want to give a quick shout out and congrats to everyone, who earned their flowers. For the men's 12 to 14-year-old age group, we've got in third place Xavier Turnipseed, second place Griffin Wood, and in first place Titus Haynes. Congrats to you three.
Congrats.
And then 15 to 17, 105 kg. We've got Jason Solano, Declan Johnson, and Tristan Patton. Men's 15 to 17 open, we have Jacob Meador, Isaac Martin, and Eli Kemp. Men's 18 to 19, 105 kg. There are only three in this class. We've got Sean Riley Turner, Brock Shug, and Justice Marable. And then in 18 to 19 open, Jamarcus Andrew Jarvis, and I apologize if I butcher this name, Adric Lygestrand, and then Zachary Graziano. In the women's 12, there's only two categories for them, 12 to 15. We've got Taylin Louise Birdsley, Azaria Horton, and Annabelle Lynn. And then the 16 to 17-year-old women's class, we have Madeline Queller, Liv Dawson, and Faith DeFrancisco. So congrats to all of you guys.
Awesome.
Those weights were not super, super light, so the future's looking good.
I love watching the younger crowd. I say as I'm very young myself, but I like watching the younger crowd get into it. That and like the Masters divisions. I love seeing some more participation in the sport. I don't know if you caught the Stoltmans posted a video on their channel earlier this week. They put on an amateur strongman show that was kind of like is this your first time doing strongman? Come compete. And I dare to say that they look like they're having more fun than most of the pro guys do, because the attitude at a local show like that is just so much more fun, and the joy is all there when it comes to the local shows, which so far is the only thing I've been able to do. But I think that it's a really good thing that they're getting kind of the younger crowd into it, because who knows where they're going to end up 5-10 years from now. Hopefully not too much better than me, because I need to catch up. So
yeah,
we'll see.
Yeah, it's nice to see them starting early, because it's like some of these guys and girls could potentially, go the distance with this.
Mm-hmm.
And we're a very niche sport, and it's nice to see like, hey, let your kids do this weird niche thing. It's not that weird. All the pros are bearded bald men, but they're all very nice.
Yeah, and I think that especially when it comes to speaking from an American perspective, for a country that values football so much, strongman is way less dangerous than putting your kid into football. So if you're okay with your kid playing football, then why not just give strongman a try? Because they could be the best in the world. You never know.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's pretty exciting. I love trying to highlight the lesser known areas of the sport. Like I said, the masters and the teens and stuff, because they work just as hard as everyone else to get to where they're at. So the next topic we have today is a brief touch on the Thor Enhanced Games deadlift attempt yesterday. I have my own thoughts on it. Do you have any of your thoughts before I get into mine?
I thought the warm-up video he posted, you and I were actually messaging about it on Instagram. Mm-hmm. I thought he had it when he originally tried 515, just looking at the speed, and then looking at the speed of it, his first two. His second one was like, maybe. But I don't know. I don't know if it's a mental bug or what's going on, but it was not close.
No, I think that if he had it about an inch higher, he probably would have just hitched it out for a long time. My thing is, I just think he took the attempts too close, because everyone references that he did 505, and then however many few weeks later he did 510. And I think the difference between that is not only was 515 obviously the heavier attempt that he failed first, but when it comes to the amount of time in between, he also pulled 400 kilos for 7 reps, 4 weeks before attempting 511. And I just think that he's very experienced with peaking and everything, especially with how good his coach is at coaching a peak. And he knows what to do. And I just think that they pushed it a little bit because of the opportunity. Um, I think that given double the time, so an 8 week block instead of a 4 week block, it definitely would have been there. And I think that it's a testament to how strong he really is that he can still get it as close as he got it, even on a suboptimal option. Didn't seem like there was any problem with the platform this time because he was saying that in Vegas his feet got a little sweaty and it caused his foot to twist out a little bit, which is what we saw in the live stream. This one just kind of looked like there wasn't quite enough gas in the tank. Something that does need to be touched on a little bit in that side of things is that he's been very open with the fact that his cycle isn't able to be the exact same for the enhanced games versus his standard. Like if he were to go to Giants Live, the steroid cycle has to be dimmed down a little bit just to be safer and more medically advisable. So I think that there is a chance that that could partially be it, especially because one of the substances he mentioned that he would normally have taken is tren. And as everyone is familiar with, tren being one of the most dangerous but one of the most effective substances when it comes to overall strength, I think that there is a chance that at a weight that heavy, with that small of a percentage in between getting it and not getting it, the tren might have been part of that small percentage because he was weighing heavier. He was over 200 kilos for this attempt, so I don't think it was the body weight this time. Could have been any number of factors, but it's always fun to see him attempt it. So,
Yeah, absolutely. Laws and Liz actually talked about it on the live stream. Someone asked them a question on the drug stuff. And, obviously Laws coaches Mitch, so he has insider knowledge. He said, I can't answer that. But I feel like that definitely affected both. I mean, Mitch wasn't going to pull 500 plus on that day.
What? Are you kidding me?
But I think that definitely affected both of their top end strength. I mean, a lot. Yeah. I would say the vast majority of the pro guys are running tren before the big show. You can hear it in their voices. They get that cough. They get really, really raspy. And yeah, I think that's, like you said, you have 1 to 2% chance that tren buys you when you're making millions of dollars each year to pull of that weight.
Yeah.
To win World's Strongest Man, you're taking it there, but they can't take it here.
Right. And I think that there's a misconception that strongmen, I was actually talking to somebody about this earlier. There's a misconception that strongmen are not on a lot of gear because everyone who says, oh, they're not on as much as you think is comparing it to a bodybuilder who is on an amount of gear you can weigh on a scale.
Yeah, grams and grams.
Yeah. And so I think that it's it's definitely more than an average non-weightlifting person would think, but it's not nearly as much as a bodybuilder. So it will definitely affect your performance. I mean, we've seen before, especially with Thor, it was kind of crazy because we saw a little bit, I think it was either last year or the year before, where he went off cycle. I think it was last year. He went off cycle for a bit and dropped like almost 100 pounds of body weight. It was crazy. It was something, not that much. He got off of it and he dropped a ton of body weight. So it kind of goes to show, yes, he is genetically 1% of the 1%, but he also is taking more gear than most people are on top of that. So I just think, like I said, he's the only one consistently doing it. So it was cool to see him try again, but I would rather see him wait a little bit longer. I understand from a business side of things why you would try it again, because if he got it, then it would have been big payday. I actually don't know what that he gets paid if he doesn't get it. I just know it's more than he would get paid at any other strongman competition. So
yeah,
makes sense.
Yeah, and speaking of the payment, I think the enhanced games as a whole was a big positive for strongman. I'm a fan of Mitch, but I do think he is unbiased. I think he's right when it's like, hey, it's okay to talk about it. I mean, everyone knows bodybuilders are on gear.
Yeah.
I mean, powerlifters are natural. You know
tested.
what I mean?
They're tested.
They're tested.
They're tested.
Same with Olympians. Olympians are tested. But it's like, dude, you can test year round and be at 1,500 test. that's
Hmm.
technically within the top end genetic range, so it won't
Yeah.
ping anything.
Hmm.
Um, but being like, hey, this isn't the 90s. People aren't blasting insulin anymore
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
just dying left and right. We're
Hmm.
a little bit smarter about it.
Hmm.
People are gonna take it anyway. I mean, I know I work at a gym.
Hmm.
There's regular dudes who are on TRT doses of 400 milligrams a week,
Yeah.
which for you average Joes, that's a lot of
It's
that's
a
a
lot.
lot of
It's a lot. Yeah.
testosterone for especially if you're just existing. That's a
Yeah.
lot of testosterone.
If you're a competitive
Um,
strength athlete, that's a lot.
yeah, and it's like Ozempic kind of opened the door
Hmm.
for all of that stuff to come in. And I think
Hmm.
it's great that the enhanced games are like, hey, we're getting, yeah, they're making money off of it. You know what I mean? But it's like, hey, we're getting ahead of it. We know you guys are going to do it. We know
Yeah.
you're going to we know you're going to take steroids. Just do it smart. Get a doctor. Don't buy it from, some dude brewing in his bathtub.
Yeah. Right. Um, yeah. I think I was going to touch on that actually. Also, if you didn't, the enhanced games, I think that a lot of people hate it for the wrong reasons. Is it a sales tactic? Absolutely. Is it something that is a net negative? I don't think so. I think that again, it's sort of a thing of like, though in my mind, I compare it to prohibition when it comes to alcohol is going to get sold anyway. So if you want to make it safer and not as dangerous to get it, you make it legal. There's a limit to that. Obviously, we don't want to go down that rabbit hole. But when it comes to steroids specifically, especially younger people, I'd say under 18, number one, you should not be taking it. But number two, too many of them are. So if they don't know anything about it, they don't know any better, they're going to listen to somebody, some random guy on Instagram who is like, you want to do this cycle, and then they're going to die of a heart attack because they did something wrong, right? I think that overall it's going to be safer for the community once it's more accepted. And on the topic of sponsorships, that's something that a lot of guys talk about like, oh, if I talk about it, I'm going to lose my sponsorships. I still think that a lot of those companies need to kind of understand where we're at in the world. That's a big thing to say, but it's like you can't sponsor an athlete who is like everyone does know that they're on, but like, oh, you can't say it. Like, oh, we're not gonna sponsor you if you say it. I just think that's a little silly.
Yeah, I agree. It's this weird moral grandstanding thing.
Hmm.
Um, like it just the times have to change. They're gonna change eventually. I mean, you're just gonna see. I mean, how many potential sponsors do you think Mitch lost by doing the enhanced games? But how much do you think he cares? And it's like, dude,
Yeah.
Thor's the best deadlifter of all time. Thor's
Yeah.
potentially the strongest human being of all time.
Hmm.
Mitch is the current best strongman, and if he continues on this path, will retire as the greatest strongman of all time.
Hmm.
I mean, like I said, if he
Yeah.
continues on this path, he's got a wild.
Yeah. I mean, he's the
see.
best. He's the best at strongman that we've ever seen,
Yeah, exactly.
for sure.
And it's like these guys are Thor and Mitch are the top two guys, and they're more than happy to be like, yeah, I'm enhanced. I don't need all you other sponsors. It's just a matter of time until other guys start popping
Hmm.
into that scene, and it's like, oh, here's another peptide company that can sponsor. There was a peptide booth at the Arnold this year, like a
Hmm.
booth selling the powdered like BPC 157 and bacteriostatic water.
That's crazy. I didn't know that.
And like you said, with the enhanced, with it being a sales tactic, so is every major comp. Do you think Rogue's just putting on the Rogue
Yeah. Yeah.
Invitational just to be nice and give out a bunch of money? No, they're trying to sell you Rogue gear. Do you think
Mhm.
the Arnold's just put on the Arnold just to give everybody a chance? No, they sell a gajillion expo tickets, and the tables sell them. The tables pay a bunch of money to table there, and all these brands make money, and the Arnold
Mhm.
makes money. Everyone makes money. It's all about. We live in a. I hate to say we live in a society, but like
We live
it's
in a
money
society.
driven. It's
Yeah.
not just people being altruistic trying to throw on shows at the amateur level. Yeah, it's that, but
Mhm.
there's a reason the pros don't compete in the amateur level.
Yeah, and I think that one of the things that people need to realize about the sport, we touched on it briefly last week, but the idea that these things are just going to happen is not how any other sport has done it. There's got to be marketing behind it. And one thing I'll say is that the Enhanced Games is one of the best marketed shows for strongman we've ever seen because of the funding behind it. So these guys need to kind of pull their head out of their ass a little bit and accept that the Enhanced Games is possibly going to be the best thing that can happen to modern strongman right now because of the amount of money being dumped into it.
All right, if I'm World's Strongest Man right now, I am on my knees begging Peter Thiel to sponsor World's Strongest Man from the Enhanced Games perspective, and just
Yeah.
have like World Strong, like the Enhanced Games presents World's Strongest Man or something like that, because the prize pool would explode, visibility would explode. I mean, look at how well Enhanced Games was marketed in America.
Mhm.
Most people I know, I mean, I also sample size I know most people go to the gym.
Right.
Most people I know watched it. Most people I know don't watch World's Strongest Man. And it's like, dude, they've got so much. Knocked on my desk. They've got so much money.
Yeah.
Like, it's the billionaire backing them up.
Yeah. According to NPR.org, the Enhanced Games had a total prize pool available of $25 million.
Jeez Louise.
So I'm not even just mental math right now. You take the last 10 years of strongman prize money, and I don't even think it eclipses 25 million for all 4 majors.
For 10 years? I mean, 10
years. Let's do some math right here. We can edit this out if we want to, but I kind of want to do the math on that. So let's say the Arnold averaged what, like,
I think Arnold's is like 80,000. Right? Arnold's is like 80, 85.
And then
if you win it, like if you win the Arnold's, you get like 80, 85.
Yeah, and then the Worlds is like 40.
Like, I thought it was like 60.
I think it's ebbed and flowed a little bit. So I'm saying over the last 10 years, it's gotten a lot more
probably
recently.
average like 40.
And then you go Rogue has only been around for 5 or 6 years. So let's say that's
Rogue is a big
500,000 because it's like $100,000 to win that. And then the few years of Strongest Man on Earth, let's say total of
Smo was like 100.
300,000.
Yeah, 300,000.
Yeah, that's like that doesn't even.
That's barely a million. I mean, even if you include all of the winnings of every like pro-am show too. I mean, if you include everything, I think we're barely scraping $1 million total. And Thor almost made that. In one deadlift attempt.
So the math on that in the last. Hold on, let me close this so I can get a good take on this. But in the last 10 years, strongman prize money in general doesn't even eclipse 10 million for the last 10 years, because that's assuming that the current prices were kind of mathed out for those, like incorporating how much they've grown over the past even 5 years. You're in one night of strongman, you could make the equivalent of 5 years of being a pro strongman at the top level. So let's say that hypothetically there is ever an Enhanced Games actual strongman show, the amount of money that these athletes could potentially win, because like you imagine the production value that they have on that, the event selection, all the athletes they would be able to get on that, the amount of money they could make is like so high. Like I said, the marketing team behind Enhanced Games with the talent in the general pro field right now, the sky's the limit.
Yeah, and it would be like the America's major show.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, especially if they keep holding it in Vegas or Western North America. Western North America being the United States.
Western U.S.
Western U.S. But it's like, dude, I mean, Mitch got to go work out with some of the best NFL players in the league.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and have like future Hall of Famers. He just worked out with them.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen without the Enhanced Games. If the Enhanced Games happen next year and they have, I mean, whoever else could pull 500, we'll see at the Deadlift World Championship later this year. But if they have 4 guys there pulling 100, if they double it, that would be the best thing to ever happen to strongman.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, here's the thing too is like, if you imagine the funding behind that. Now, strongman was kind of one of the sideshows for the Enhanced Games, but I think that they've seen at this point, there's a reason Thor got invited to do another one. It's because everyone saw and everyone liked it, and it's cool. So if they had a show that is a major, that would be the equivalent of like the Strongman Olympics.
Yeah.
Even if it happened every year, there would be guys that focus their entire career. Like, I don't know if you saw Mitch's recent video about him retiring, where we talked last week. We're like, he kind of needs to go Brian Shaw mode on it. So good job, Mitch. You took our advice. Thank you for that. But yeah, it's good to see he's pulling back. But if you imagine somebody like Mitch, or even you go down the top 5, let's say somebody like Evan Singleton, somebody like Lucas Hatton, they have their chance at 5th place being $500,000. Like, that would be nuts. That's obviously very high. But like, I mean, like if they gave out $1 million to the winner, $750,000 to the 2nd place, so on and so forth down the line, 10th place is making their normal yearly salary in strongman in one night.
Yeah, and like, dude, I would tune in even if it was like a max log. I would tune in. Max bag throw for height. I would tune in. That would be sick. Like, it was just like, hey, here's an insane prize pool. Here's a 50-pound bag. Mm-hmm. How high can you get it? Or a 50-pound keg, whatever. Like, it's how high can you get it? That would be so
Thor throw 30 feet.
Yeah, like you would just see just insane stuff. You would see guys come out of the woodwork, and you might see people who are athletes that might try the NFL, then they get stuck in CFL for a while and they never go anywhere. Mm-hmm. But you might see them be like, hey, I saw that on the Enhanced Games. I'm going to go do that instead of try my football career.
Yeah, right.
And look at like Thomas Evans. He was an lineman for the Green Bay Packers.
I mean, Bryce Johnson. same situation. We're going to get into them a little bit later with our North America's lineup. But Bryce
Yeah.
Johnson was also on his way to the NFL and just happened upon strongman, and that was that.
Well, and like Joe Ken, I mean, he's who he coached Tom Evans and Trey Mitchell. He's the former
Brian
Carolina
Shaw.
Panthers strength and conditioning coach.
Yeah.
Like,
You know, it's funny. I have a funny story about Joe Ken, which is hilarious because I have met him at North Carolina Strongest the year before we did it.
Yeah.
Because I went there and watched Marcus pull 1,000. Only thing is, I walked up to him, could not remember his name for the life of me. And I was like, hey, man, what's up? Are you Ed Cohen?
Oh, no.
And he goes, nah, Ed Cohen's about this tall, and gestures to like his waist. And I'm like, okay, well.
Ed Cohen is about that tall.
He is. It's hilarious. But I'm like, okay, well, it's nice. Yeah, whatever. I couldn't figure out a way to end the conversation. But I'm like, I know I knew that guy from somewhere. And then, like, the next day, Brian Shaw posted a video that was an interview with Joe Ken. And I'm like, damn it, dude. I was like, I knew he was somebody.
You blew it. If you had said his name, he was going to see the potential in you. He was going to coach you the rest of the way. He was going to be the next Trey Mitchell, and you blew it.
Yeah, he was going to give me a North America's invite, and I blew it. But I thought that was hilarious.
I think, especially with the World Cup, I mean, you're seeing a lot of stuff about this, but it's like America, the United States has so much money in sports. We produce the best athletes in the world, and I will die on that hill. Like, no one's close. And if we could just, the more people, the more kids we can induct into our cult of strongman and pull them away from football, you're just going to start seeing U.S. domination. I mean, and we're about to see it at North America's Strongest Man.
Yeah. The last thing I'll say on that topic is I think all it takes is one guy. Like, imagine if Aaron Donald decided to come do a strongman show. Not only would he beat everyone's ass, but it would be like you'd get even like 1% of all the football fans in the country would do numbers for the sport of strongman. So it's like, it's so close to this stuff. We just need one breakthrough, and we're like so close, I think.
Yeah.
But anyway, let's get into North America's a little bit. So I will go ahead and cover the lineup if you want to go ahead and list the events.
Yeah, absolutely.
In order. I don't know if this is the actual order that they're going to be in, but I'm pretty sure this is the order they were labeled in everything I've seen of it. And so we can just go from there. I think treating this like, I know for a fact that the max log is first and the medley is last. I don't remember anything other than that. I think that's probably going to be pretty similar. So what we can do for these, by the way, is we can go through, and we can't really do like the order of events for like predictions, but we can go who's really good at each event and then who I kind of see winning the show, because we've briefly already talked about that. But for the lineup on the American side, we have Bryce Johnson, Tom Evans, Evan Singleton, Trey Mitchell, Nicholas Gardione, Josh Spurgeon, and Nick Wortham. And for Canada, we have Wes Derwinski, Tristan Hoth, Andrew Langelar, Larson Hare, James Jeffers, Maxime Boudreau, and Gabriel Rayum. So that is a hell of a lineup. It used to be better. Not better. It used to be more stacked, I should say. But with Mitchell Hooper pulling out, Lucas Hatton pulling out, and Martins Lacey's pulling out, three of the people I was most excited to see do this show. But it is what it is. You got to be safe. Lucas Hatton tore his bicep doing tire flip, which we can get into later. Mitchell Hooper has better things to do with his time, and Martins is old. So I think that's...
Mitchell Hooper's spine is about to snap in half.
Yeah, Mitchell Hooper is about to have catastrophic knee failure if he doesn't take a damn break.
Yeah. And then for the events, we've got Max Log, Conan's Wheel, Hercules Hold, Atlas Stones. We have a truck pull, a car deadlift, a Viking press, and then there's the medley of Fingles Fingers, tire flip, into power stairs.
Yeah, so that is a hell of a show, and there are a couple things that I'm seeing as standouts to me right now that I want to go over first. Number one, I was really excited to see Lucas and Trey on the max log, but I think the entertaining battle for this show is going to be between Trey Mitchell and Tom Evans, because a lot of people don't talk about Tom Evans on the log. But I think that on the right day, depending on how he's feeling, he can also hang with the big dogs. And we've seen it happen. One of the most memorable performances from him we saw in 2023, I believe.
24 worlds or 23
With
worlds. Yeah, you're
the
right.
log
You're right.
medley.
23 worlds. Yeah, 23 worlds. And we won the log.
Yeah, let's make sure this is correct because last time I did this,
No, you're right because I didn't get to
we
see it because I was going down there and I wanted to see Tom Evans in the final, and he didn't make the
yeah
final that year, but he did win the overhead medley, and he won it like he
yeah.
blitzed it because he was in the green shirt.
Well, yeah, because it was the green. Yeah, so
Yeah, it was the
yeah,
green.
yeah, log ladder.
I just remembered I didn't get to see him.
Yeah,
That's
dude.
'cause he didn't
We
make it.
saw we saw Tom Evans put in a phenomenal performance on the log ladder in 2023 at World's Strongest Man, and he hasn't dipped ever since then. He's been a very consistent performer, but I feel like he gets underrepresented in a lot of these big shows. And then Atlas Stones is another one that I'm very excited to see because the North America's Atlas Stone setup is ridiculous. JF Caron loves putting on the hardest show he can possibly think of. Have you seen what the stone loading setup looks like for those?
I have not.
So what it is basically a 5 stone series that I believe ends at 450. The first one is like 275 or 300, so very light. But the problem is every platform is made of metal steel pipes that is a plinth around this big around. So it's like, I believe it's like 16 to 18 inches around that you have to load the stone up into, and you have to set it on there, and if it rolls off the end, you have to go get it and bring it back. So there's no back to the platform. It's not big. It's like that big. And the first stone load is to 60 inches. So it's a 275, 300. There's a video of Nick Wortham training on his Instagram that you could look up after this. But you literally, most of these guys, aside from looking at the lineup, let's see, Bryce Johnson,
Maybe Evan Singleton,
maybe they have to shoulder the first stone just to get it up on the platform. I mean, Lucas Hatton, the year he did it, basically had to press it in front of him and put it on the platform because it's his height. No, not his height. It's like 5 feet. Close enough.
That's his height.
Yeah, pretty much. But yeah, these stones are brutal. It's hot outside. They are very difficult stones, and you have to load them out of this. There's like, I think, 4 or 5 guys to ever complete the stone series. Maxime Boudreau being one of them, which is cool because he's in the show. Trey Mitchell is another one. I believe we saw somebody a little bit unexpected last year finish him. I don't remember who. But yeah, it's a very, very difficult stone series. And I believe that's only going to be like the first event of day 2. Pretty sure it's the first event of day 2. So that's going to be crazy. We can go real quick event by event, roughly, and we can kind of name the standouts in each event, starting obviously with Max Log. This event, at this point, is Trey Mitchell's to lose because it is a very difficult log. It's a small 10-inch metal log, but there are only a few guys in this lineup who have even a chance of touching him, and that's Tom Evans. Maxime Boudreau on the right day is a phenomenal log presser, but that's kind of it. We were going to see a couple more in Mitch and Lucas, but right now that's kind of Trey's event to lose. So
see, I have a dark horse on this event, Bryce Johnson.
You think so?
I think if you watch when they did the max log at SMO, he was going up so fast that he lost control of it, and it came back down on him. Like it happened like 2 or 3 times.
Yeah.
Because he would lock it out and he would be shaking at the top because it was so fast that it was like he was absorbing the recoil.
Yeah.
If you watch his overhead technique, his explosive force, his barbell or log, whatever he's going, moves faster than I think anybody else in strongman. It's just it moves so fast he literally can't keep up with it.
Yeah,
I think he could. I think he could really I think he could actually come second to Trey here.
You think so?
He and Tom will go back and forth for that second place spot.
So you think the battle for second place is going to be between Bryce and Tom?
Yeah, I think Trey is just he's going to have so much confidence going into it. He just did super well in the max log at Worlds. It's also just Trey Mitchell. If
he can hit a 470 log 5 days in, 4 days in, 5 days in
in the rain,
I think he's good. I think that if Lucas was here, they both would have been good for 500. I think that was probably the case.
I think a world record would have fallen. If Lucas was here.
But right now, there's not going to really be a need for that. So I think it's just going to be Trey one jump up from whatever they get. Yeah. But I would love to see Bryce do because Bryce is one of my favorite athletes in the lineup and in strongman as a whole right now. The only problem, like you said, is he's a little shaky. Same problem he has on his deadlift. And I think it's just because he's so powerful that it's like the stability just isn't quite there yet. which is, funny enough, something that we saw from Brian Shaw early in his career, where there were a lot of times on a deadlift especially or an overhead he'd lose it just because he was wobbly a little bit. And I think it's a tall guy thing because
Yeah.
Bryce Johnson is
He puts the barbell 10 feet in the air.
he's labeled at 6'6", but he's definitely taller than that.
Yeah, for sure.
So that's going to be Max Log. Conan's wheel is going to be almost the opposite. So I see guys like Nick Guardione is one of the standouts in my head for this event.
Mm-hmm.
Tristan Hoth is really good at Conan's wheel from what I remember at Worlds. And some of these lesser-known Canadian guys, Andrew Langelar specifically, is a very athletically built individual. So I see him doing pretty good. It just kind of depends on how heavy it feels in hand, because obviously JF likes to make things heavy. So Evan Singleton is somebody that I struggle to make a prediction because he has such up and down days. Like if he's on a good day, then this whole competition is his.
He'll get first in every single
event. He's the 2025 strongest man on earth. So you can't hate on him at any event. He might not win the log or Viking press or whatever, but there are events that he could definitely win. I would say most of these events.
Yeah, I think I agree with you on Guardione on the Conan's wheel. I just worry about the short prep time might get him, but he also did just prep Conan's for Royal Albert Hall.
Yeah.
So he really won't need a ton of prep time. I'm kind of disregarding his result at Royal Albert Hall because he had that whole travel nightmare and he was clearly just like gassed. I think Maxime could also really, really do some damage depending on, what shape he shows up in, because it's been a while since we've seen him at a show at this level.
I mean, Guardione was still top half. He was still top half on Conan's wheel, and it was also really hot in that building. He's a big guy, and he traveled. His 30 hours of travel will take it out of you. So
yeah, especially all the stress of dealing with like delays and stuff like that. And, I think I guess my top three would be Guardione, Maxime, and I actually do agree with you on Andrew Langler. I think I've been watching some of his training. He's just an athlete. You just look at him. He looks fast.
He's just somebody whose static strength hasn't quite caught up yet to his athleticism. Because Nicolas Guardione in the Royal Albert Hall, to be fair, he was 6th place out of the guys. At this point, there were 9 guys or 10 guys left. But he had Patty Haynes, Pavlo Cordiaca, Andrew Flynn, and Ray Nonell all in front of him. Andre Foytu squeaked out a couple more steps in front of him, right? But those are all hitters when it comes to Conan's wheel. Like possibly, like if I were
Patty just set a world record.
If I were to design a show with all the guys I know that are the best at Conan's wheel, it's like all those guys. So I think Nick in this lineup is going to be really good. Maxime, if he doesn't pass out, is going to be great. Which, by not pass out, I mean pass out at the end, because that's what he does. Jeffers, I can see being a sneaky pick for this one, because his posterior chain is just so strong, and he's pretty well conditioned for a big guy. But I think those are going to be our standouts on Conan's. And a couple of those also transfer over to Hercules hold. Jeffers has a phenomenal grip. I think this is a part of the show where we see the Canadians take more points than we see the American side of things.
I agree with you here.
Because the Canadians are infamous for their grip strength for a reason. So guys like Max, Tristan Hoth, Wes Derwinski probably has the strongest hands of this whole lineup, aside from maybe Bryce, because it's like, depending on the day, those two can go back and forth. And I know that Wes had a really good score on this exact setup last year, and this was one of the main reasons that he made it onto the podium last year. So I think that the Canadians, like I said, Wes Derwinski, Maxime Boudreau, Tristan Hoth, all of those guys are really good at grip, and I don't think that there's anyone that is a standout bad at grip on the American side other than Trey, but Hercules hold is his best grip event usually.
Yeah,
so
how lucky for Trey that it's not a moving grip event. I mean, this is because he's got that nerve issue, and I can't remember if it was Chad Coy or Joe Ken that said something that like static grip holds, the nerve issue doesn't bother him.
Yeah.
Anything moving, he can't. His hand will not close.
Yeah, because it's something having to do with like up closer to his shoulder when it comes to the nerve. So any movement kind of trips it up, from what I understand.
And so if he can get set, maybe he doesn't get. Maybe he doesn't get dead last. You know what I mean? If he can get bottom 3, bottom 5, like 5 above the bottom, then that's his weakest event.
If he's top half, I see him winning the show.
I agree.
I still honestly see him winning the show because he's won the Shaw Classic before zeroing a grip event.
Yeah.
So if he can do that, he can do this. Moving into Atlas Stones, like I said earlier, this is going to be a fun one because we have quite a few guys that are really tall in this list, but we also have a surprising amount of guys who are not that tall. So we have Nick Wortham, who is, I believe, like 6 foot 6'1", a little bit
Yeah,
on the shorter side.
Nick Wortham, watching his videos, is around my height.
And I see him on the podium. Like Wes Derwinski's like 6'2", I think.
Yeah.
But you got guys. Josh Spurgeon isn't the tallest. He's going to be really, really good on a couple of these events coming later, especially the deadlift. But Larson Hare is also not that tall. So you got a couple of guys that are going to struggle getting that first stone up. And I think that it's going to be a deciding factor for Evan Singleton's show because historically, stones have been like a 50-50 thing for him. So his height is going to help him a lot on this series. And if he gets his tacky right, I think that he's one of the guys that could finish the series.
Yeah, this is the first. I mean, like the Conan's is hard on your hamstrings, but it's like exhaustion hard. It's not max effort hard. You know, if that makes any sense.
Yeah,
And I
yeah.
feel like the stones, especially that lean back for him, if his hamstring and posterior chain strength can hold up, then he'll be fine. But also, you know, the injury bug gets you, then you're getting your head, and it's like, oh, you're constantly worried. You know what I mean? This could be one where he's bent over picking those stones up. Maybe mentally something gets him.
Yeah.
Which hopefully not. I'm not.
Yeah, for sure.
I want
him
to do extremely well.
Yeah. I see, like I said, on his day, he can win this show no problem. And so I think that the deciding factor for Evan specifically on the stone event is which one is first between the stones and the deadlift. Because the car deadlift, if the deadlift is first, then he's going to be sore from the deadlift. And his somewhat decreased from what it seems like posterior chain ever since the issue that he had at the deadlift championships, it's going to get into his head a little bit, I think. But I think Evan is a professional, so he'll know what he's capable of. And in this lineup, it might just be a fast three.
Yeah,
gets big
and
ones.
Evan's tall, like so that first stone won't be a huge issue for him to clear.
The only other thing I see being a problem for Evan on this is the small stone plinths you have to put it on. If he gets too excited with it and throws a stone over the back, that's like 10 seconds at least of getting it. Because he's somebody that if he threw the 325 stone over, he could run over, pick it up, and walk it back over. That's not going to be a problem. I think that he's gotten to the point in his, I don't know what to call it exactly, but the headspace that he gets in for these shows, I think he's gotten to a point of maturity that we're not really going to see that much from him anymore because he's realized that it is his greatest strength, but it can also be a weakness. So I think in recent shows we've seen him control it quite a bit better, and I think that is a good thing for him on this show because it lends to some mistakes with some of the later events as well.
Yeah, and it's like Evan said that Alex said it to him when he won Smo, that Alex said, hey, you know why you won Smo? And I was like, no. Yeah, because Evan Singleton showed up, not the T-Rex. And it's like if Evan's mentally like there, I think he's a third place finisher, world's strongest man. He's Smo. He's the current Smo. He'll be Smo for until Brian, if he ever magically brings it back. And I feel like people give him a lot of crap because he gets hurt, but it's like you can't you know what I mean? You can't control it.
It's just
like it's
part of the game.
Yeah. All right, truck pull. Who do you think? I've got hot takes on this one.
I have a couple. Yeah, I have a couple picks for people that I know are good at truck pull. Starting with Nick Gardione. Nick is really good at truck pull. That's one of the things that him and Austin were looking forward to most at Worlds, and he performed pretty well at Worlds on the truck pull. Let me pull up the truck pull, his specific truck pull results. The truck pull, he was second place in his group, only to Reno Nell.
Yeah,
and he had Luke
Reno won the whole thing.
Correct. So he beat Luke Richardson, Ben Glasscock, and Tristan Hoth. He beat Tristan Hoth in his group at Worlds, so I think he's going to be a good one. Bryce, if he can get his feet right on the technique, he is the biggest guy by a large margin in this show. So I think that he has the potential to really pull that through. And even despite his injury in the past, I think Trey is a decent pick for the truck pull in this show. Let me pull up his event.
Yeah, Trey's starting power. We just saw that video of him doing that weird kickback machine thing where he's doing like 705 pounds on it. But that bull at Rogue that caused him to get that injury, that bull was like 1,200 pounds. And I think Mateusz was the only one to
Yeah,
finish it.
Mateusz was the
And
only one.
like Mitch
Even
got close,
even Mitch didn't.
but Mitch didn't finish it.
Hmm.
Trey was actually on pace to finish it, and then
Yeah,
it popped.
yeah. I mean,
Um,
Trey is the strongest man in the world right now, and
yeah,
I say that. I'll say that with my full chest. I think Trey is the strongest single athlete in the entire world right now, and his truck pull results were only a second and a half slower than Nick.
hmm
And the only reason he didn't score as many points in his group is because Andy Flynn and Pablo Cordiaca beat him in this. Also, Trey beat Evan Singleton in his group
yep,
at the truck pull. So depending on how heavy it is, if it's a lighter truck, I put Evan in front of Trey. But if it's a heavier truck, I put Trey in front of Evan because Trey also somehow I don't even know how this is possible. He just has a gas tank that does not stop. It
yeah,
just keeps going. We saw that at the Rogue with the yoke into power stairs. He was one of three people to finish
yeah,
behind
yeah. I
Patty
think.
Haynes.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, behind Patty Haynes of all people, who you would think would blow this thing out of the water, and you would think Mitch, you would think Evan, you would think guys like maybe even Bryce, but dude, it was ridiculous. It was so bad, dude.
Yeah, I think, and I've said his name a couple times, but I think Maxime could blitz this.
Hmm.
It's just we haven't seen him compete. Like, I mean, he's competing against guys who top of the world guys,
Hmm.
which is where he belongs. Maxime
Yeah,
belongs. The machine hasn't shown that he doesn't belong there. He's just gotten injured in
yeah,
like
he's
very
just passed out a
desperate
bunch.
situations. Um, but like he could, Maxime could win this.
Hmm.
Maxime could genuinely win this event. I think
Definitely.
James Jeffers is also a name to look out for.
Hmm.
Um, he's one of Alec Jose's clients, if I'm correct.
He is. Yeah, Alec Jose coaches him
Um,
and Levi Strong, who we saw at World's Strongest Man, both their
yeah, and
debuts this year.
yeah, I remember. If I'm entirely wrong, we cut this part, but
Uh huh.
James did pretty. I thought he did pretty well at Worlds on the truck pull, right?
He did. He was faster than Trey's time and Evan's time would be in this, as well as
Yeah,
Tristan's time.
yeah,
If I
and
can find
James was
it.
a late call up for Worlds too, and it's
Yeah,
not like truck pull is an event that you're just like, oh, I'm just gonna go train.
no,
I've
James is
got an
really good at
events
it.
day. Yeah, it's like, oh, I've got an events day. Let me go train truck pull. No one
Hmm.
does that. You only train truck pull if you know you got a truck pull.
Hmm.
And he was a late call up for Worlds, but he's been training for this since Worlds.
Yeah, somebody who's also really good at truck pull is Wes Derwinski. Wes has been the one teaching Bryce how to do it properly. And if you watch, they did a World's Strongest Easter video for the
Yeah,
Chalk Bowl channel. And Wes, you look at Bryce doing the truck pull and Nick Wortham doing the truck pull, and you see Wes do it, and it's like there's a reason he's teaching him. It's because his technique is really, really good. And one of the things I forgot to mention earlier, for most of these Canadian athletes, aside from the younger, newer call ups, is that most of these guys have used all of these setups before. So like the truck that they're using, chances are they've used it before. The stone setup, the log, it's all unique equipment to the Festival en Fort in Canada that is works with JF. But these Canadian guys, especially guys like Max, and Tristan, and Wes, the more experienced Canadian guys have all used this stuff before. So that's going to be a huge benefit for stuff like the truck pull.
hmm All right, then moving on to the car deadlift. I think it's weird that this is the deadlift event,
Hmm.
especially on a 2 day comp, because I find it depends on the style. If it's a like side handles or it's front handles, I don't know if that's been confirmed yet.
I believe it's side handle.
But like side handles is almost more like a leg press
Hmm.
than a deadlift,
Yeah.
and it's like that's where you're gonna have guys like Trey Mitchell
Hmm.
who just just rep it out.
Yeah.
I mean, I think Trey, we keep talking about, but Trey has the
Mhm.
strongest legs
Yeah,
in the comp.
for sure. And it would have been Lucas, but Lucas
Yeah,
is out.
yeah. Lucas's legs are so strong. World's Strongest Man ignored the seating and
Mhm.
put him against Mitch anyway,
Yeah, which is awesome.
which is what they should do.
Yeah, of course.
I don't care
Yeah.
about who
Yeah.
goes who squats for each other. But I think actually on this one, Tristan Hoth, I think can
Mhm.
really do some damage
Yeah.
here. As far as leg endurance goes, I mean, this is one of the last events on day 2.
Hmm.
Tristan Hoth is the best yoke walker in the world.
Hmm.
That's core strength, leg strength.
Yeah.
Exactly what you need on a side handle car deadlift.
Hmm. We also saw at SCL Ohio, he did a car deadlift very, very well at that show that a lot of the other athletes were struggling with a little bit. And so we've seen that he's really good. Again, on this setup, he's done it before. So even if it is the front handle, I think the front handle would change things quite a bit.
I
I don't
agree.
see anyone else winning other than Trey, no matter which handle it is, because not only is he also the strongest on side handle, but he's also the strongest on front handle.
Deadlift.
And
Yeah,
I think that if Trey had figured out his straps a little bit better, he could have won the trap bar event at SMO.
I agree.
I
I
think that it
agree.
was possible. I think that there were just a couple of little mistakes he made with his, whether it's his log clean or his trap bar handle placement with his straps, just kind of messed him up a little bit. But I do see Trey winning this event. Evan is another one of my picks because Evan performed phenomenally on the trap bar at SMO.
Yeah, Evan did great on the trap
Yeah,
bar.
1,300 pounds on the trap bar. You can't say that doesn't count for something with a side handle car deadlift. So I think those are some good. I think this is possibly one of the most even events of the whole show because a lot of these guys are going to be really good at this. Nick Wortham is one that I can see. Josh Spurgeon, this is one of the events I think that he picks up the most points because Josh is a sneaky good deadlifter. He's bordering on 1,000 pounds raw on his pull.
Yeah, he's like right there. I remember he no, what training footage I see? He pulled like 900 something.
Mhm.
No suit.
Yeah,
Like, it was
he
like
was.
a year or two ago. It was like
I believe it was his
945.
training for OSG, not this year, but last year with the deadlift ladder. I think.
Yeah, yeah, something recent.
Yeah, it was
Not
either that or
confirmed.
maybe the Arnold, like the Arnold Pro Am. One of those. But either way, he's pulled over 900 pounds raw. So this is going to be a raw show. And I think that all of these guys, I can't really think, maybe Evan would prefer a suit potentially, but most of these guys are always like, yeah, let's just do a raw deadlift. I think Tom Evans is also a strong puller on his day.
Mhm.
And
And it's hard to. We have not been talking about Tom Evans, but it's
Mhm.
hard when he doesn't post anything, and it's like everyone
Yeah.
knows he's insanely strong.
Oh, super
But
strong.
we have no frame of reference
Mhm.
for what he's. We know he's good at overhead.
Mhm.
We know he got third at SMO,
Mhm.
like a very deserved third. It wasn't.
For
There's
sure.
no question about it. But that's that's it. And then he's got a bicep issue. He's had a
And
bicep issue for
he
the past couple of years.
pretty narrowly missed the podium at Rogue Invitational as well.
Yeah, he was just off of it.
Yeah. So going into the Viking press, again, this is Trey's event to lose because we saw him do. I don't quote. I want to look at his score actually because it was his performance on the Viking press at dude. Just confirming, it was a 365-pound in hand Viking press at the Rogue Invitational, and he got 22 reps.
Yeah, Jesus Christ.
And the next best was Mitchell Hooper at 18 reps. And I remember watching that live stream, and Mitch looked like he was about to die on that.
Yeah,
I
and
think
Trey just called it. I remember Trey just did it and was just like, yeah.
the problem with Trey on all of these overhead events, which we saw again at the Arnold, it's not that he runs out of steam. He just runs out of time. Because I was telling somebody else about this the other day that I think that given the Austrian oak, if you didn't give Trey a time limit, I think we could see 6 reps.
I agree.
Because
I agree.
his number one, his clean would give out before his press. And I think this year on his press at the Arnold, he had at least one more rep, potentially even in the time limit if he used his time a little bit better, but he got 5 reps on the Austrian oak in, I believe it was 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes, a long time frame. But I would love to see if you gave Trey as much time as he wants and a grip shirt, how many reps are we actually able to see on the Austrian oak? Even if you put it at 205, the jump from 195 to 205 for Trey doesn't matter at all. I think that if we put his performance directly next to Big Z, I think that there's a potential argument for Trey really being the best log presser of all time and not Zadrunas. If he's able to keep up that performance, because longevity is the thing, and Iron Bibby also has the best record, but I think that's just because we haven't seen Trey attempt the record yet.
Yeah, I agree. I think especially with Lucas finally breaking through the pro-am scene,
Mm-hmm.
and he's now an established pro,
Mm-hmm.
he and Trey hopefully are going at it together for the
Mm-hmm.
next 5+ years.
Mm-hmm.
And they're just, I mean, if we come back to this conversation in 5 years, I expect
Mm-hmm.
both Trey and Lucas Hatton to have held the log lift world record for a certain period of time.
Yeah,
I
back and
think
forth,
each
I
of them
think.
will have it.
Yeah, and the good news is Trey is only 32.
Yeah.
So he still has potentially even, at a minimum, 5 years of still being strong. And some
Yeah, I can
guys
see
who
Trey.
are,
I can see Trey getting 8. I
Mhm.
can see Trey going until he's 40 with how just insanely strong he is.
Yeah, and his
Even if he
consistency,
degrades a
yeah,
little bit, he'll still be, pushing podium guys
right.
on pretty much everything.
All that to say, I think Trey's winning the Viking press. I think Tom Evans, Nick
Yep.
Wortham, Bryce Johnson, there are a ton of guys that could do really well in this. I know Bryce is really good at Viking press because, like you said, take the stability element out of it, and he's golden. So I think
Yeah.
that's
And
going to be
remember
a good mix.
2024 World's Strongest Man when they did the big globe Viking press thing?
Hmm.
Tom Evans did really, really well.
Oh yeah, yeah, he's
On
great.
it.
I mean,
You know.
it kind of just depends on who's tired. Probably, unfortunately, probably going to see some injuries by this point in the show because it's the end of day 2. So if guys' bodies can hold up, that's one of the things about Trey is that aside from one or two like really exact, like I can only really think of his Achilles as the one injury I've seen from Trey. He's fairly consistent, very durable as an athlete. Like you don't see him.
Knock on wood as we say that.
Yeah,
Don't
of
want to
course.
jinx
Yeah,
him.
knock on. Yeah, for sure. You don't see him trip up very often. Like he's pretty consistent.
Yeah. And speaking of injuries,
Mhm.
the next event
Yeah,
has an event in it that I hate. My coach
yeah.
hates it.
I think
Um,
anyone in their right mind hates it at this point.
yeah, and I respect JF Corona. I think he puts on a great show, but
Mhm.
I don't. Maybe it's just the old style
Yeah, and of course
strongman
we're
because
talking
they love
about
their
power stairs. No, I'm just kidding.
big
Talking
tire
about tire
stairs,
flip.
exactly. But yeah, tire flip. It's like which year was it at World's Strongest Man where they did the car flip? It was like very early on. Is that as hard? No,
No,
but that's way cooler.
it's way
World's Strongest
cooler.
Man this year they did the Kanak box
Oh,
flip medley.
dude.
And yeah, Austin Andrade concussed himself and KO'd himself, and I
Yeah,
think Martins banged his head too.
yeah.
But like that was way cooler because you see this. I was there in person,
Mhm.
and it was loud. It
Yeah.
was. I mean, you could hear it down the street. You could hear him bang, bang,
Mhm.
flipping the thing, and it doesn't require you to do this insane, really jerky bicep
Mhm.
flip.
Yeah, I think that the implement was designed fairly well. I think that there's a couple things like if you put like a flat edge on one of the sides instead of having it always be an open thing to put your head through, like I think that's part of what was a little bit of the
Mhm.
issue. But I think that yeah, like you said, having the handles on it is awesome because it's basically like a power clean. Like
Yeah,
that's cool. Power cleans are really safe when it comes to the stuff like that. You don't see people get hurt if they can double overhand. Like that's the problem. The problem isn't flipping stuff over. The problem is this: because if you go into a car flip and they have the bar on the bottom, you lean into it, you grab it like this, you go up. Tire flip, you have to
you
put your
have to do the
biceps.
explosive bicep curl.
And there's a difference between, I think, number one, all of these guys who were like, oh, we did tire flip all the time back in our day. The tires were lighter. You weren't as strong as these guys. And you also don't have as much at stake as these guys do. So even the guys at World's Strongest Man, we saw the tire flip in 2017, the year Eddie won. And a lot of those guys were fine because they're from the era that it happens. But I've only been in the strongman scene for 2 or 3 years. And the only injuries I've seen consistently on one event every time, other than like people pulling their hamstring on deadlift, that happens. But tire flip at this point is just a dangerous event that doesn't need to be in a show. There are so many more entertaining alternatives than just flipping a tire. Because the thing about a tire flip also, you can have 5 tires that are all the same size and they'll all be different weights. So there's no way to really know, oh, is it actually a hard tire or does it just look like a hard tire?
Yeah, and too, you can game the. I'm a big squat enjoyer.
Mhm.
Squat is one of the most gamed events in strongman. You can game a tire flip really hard by how much force you can get off of the push. You can
Mhm.
send that thing when you flip it up. You can send that thing flying,
Mhm.
and it's like what I just don't understand with the tire flip. What is being tested?
Mhm.
And I know the athletes are going to hate me for saying this. I would rather see a duck walk into power stairs
Mhm.
than a tire flip into power stairs.
Yeah, one of my favorite combos ever is yoke into power stairs. I love a
Mhm.
yoke into power stairs without a duck walk. I just think that duck walk, that I have my own personal opinions on duck walk, which we can get into some other time when there's a duck walk to talk about. But I just think that it could have been a sandbag load. It could have been a stone load. It could have been anything other than a tire flip because I just don't. I think it kind of, whenever I see a tire flip in a medley, I feel like it kills a lot of the momentum of the event because if it's a medley and you go into a tire flip just looks slow. No matter how fast you do it, it just looks slow. So Fingal's Fingers is fine. Fingal's Finger is basically like the safest way you could do a tire flipping motion, aside from the fact that it could come down and kill you. But that's kind of why they have the carts behind people.
Yeah.
So anyway, all I'd say, we're kind of taking a lot longer on this than I thought we were going to because I got excited. But Fingal's Finger, fine. Tire flip, not a fan. Power stairs, Evan Singleton is going to win if he's not injured. Which again, knock on wood, I want to see Evan do well because he's one of the most entertaining athletes in the sport, who we talked about a lot last week. But he is so good at power stairs. I think he is Bryce Johnson, phenomenal at power stairs. I think Evan is the only person that I can think of that will beat Bryce at this set of power stairs because of how heavy it is. It's like a 16-inch load. I mean, if you watch like these guys compete, it's like halfway up Lucas Hatton's body. When he's on this thing, he's like having to put it over his head.
They're front raising it.
It's crazy. So like guys like Bryce, guys like Evan, they have the height. You saw it back in the day when Brian Shaw did this set of power stairs, or Thor, whatever. It's a tall set of power stairs. So I think that, in my opinion, if he's able to pull it off, if everyone makes it through the tire flip, I have Evan Singleton winning this event. I think this is one of the events that Trey Mitchell loses the most points because he's going to finish, but it's going to be slow. Mm-hmm. So it just kind of depends on where the points are at. I think that all things considered, Trey has pulled away enough before this event that he's not going to have to worry about it. But I do think that Evan probably wins this event.
I agree. I think it's Evan 1, Bryce Johnson 2, whoever else 3. Mm-hmm. I think it's their height. The height for Bryce Johnson is such a major factor. Mm-hmm. Evan Singleton is just so good at power stairs. And then I'll take that and go right into my top 3. Mm-hmm. I think you and I are going to be in agreement on 1 with, I've got Trey Mitchell 1. Mm-hmm. I have Bryce Johnson 2. Mm-hmm. And then I have my dark horse 3rd place. Maybe there's a lot of bias here because I have his shirt from World's Strongest Man. But Nick Gardione, I think, we haven't mentioned him for a lot of events other than the Conants and the truck pull, but I don't think he's bad at anything. No. I think his static strength of the max log maybe hurts him, but there's so many new Canadians that got pulled up. Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm not trying to insult anybody, but you got a World's Strongest Man finalist in Nick Gardione versus, like Larson Hare, who's very new to the Pro-Am scene.
Yeah. Which I hope he surprises us. I love a new guy that surprises people.
I hope everyone wins. In an ideal world, everyone wins every single event. They all tie for first place.
I just want everyone to be friends.
Exactly. But I think Nick Gardione, there's really no bad event for him. He's athletic enough that he'll keep up speed with everybody who's fast. He's strong enough that he'll keep up strength with everybody who's strong statically. And then he's got 2 ringer events in the Conans and the Truck Bowl.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think that I don't see him dropping points anywhere. There are obviously events that he won't be able to win, like Max Log. He's not going to win Max Log, but he's not going to be. He's not going to be. He's not going to need to. He's not going to need to. No, I think that he's going to be great. Especially, like I said, there's enough dynamic in this. He's also a phenomenal stone loader. That's something people don't talk about very much. The Texas boys are both really good at stones, and so I think it would have been cool to see Austin in this show because I think Austin would have been on the podium in this show.
I agree.
Because he's somebody that just, again, super durable, super good at all these events. But my top 3, I was definitely going to have Trey in number 1. I was going to have Bryce in number 2 because he's so good at all these events. And I think that the real battle for 3rd is going to be between Evan Singleton, Tom Evans, and Nick Wortham.
Okay. Nick,
obviously being on the podium last year, he's seen all these events. These are really good events for Nick. Nick, I don't know if you've seen, Nick has loaded a 500-pound Atlas stone. 506. So yeah, Nick has loaded a 500-pound Atlas stone. So if he can load a 500 stone, and he's done pretty well at this series in the past. So Nick is one of my dark horse picks, but it's going to be such a fun show because all these guys are all so good that I think there's only a couple people that I would say, oh, there's absolutely no chance. But even then, they could surprise me and pull out a huge performance. I'm just really excited to watch it. If you haven't heard already, there is going to be a live stream on Lucas Hatton's YouTube channel run by Braden, his camera guy, that is going to be, I believe it's going to be free. I know they have a membership tier.
I think you have to pay to watch it live.
Okay.
I believe it's $15 to watch it live.
Yeah.
If you're thinking about pulling the trigger, please do
absolutely
support Lucas Hatton. He does so much for especially North American strongman. Shout out Lucas Hatton again.
Yeah.
But
Part 2, Lucas Hatton Part 2
yeah,
shout
part
out.
2 couldn't have happened like that. Sucks so much you had to pull out of this.
If you have the means to support the channel, absolutely do. I know for a fact that they've said in one of their previous lives that it's going to be available to rewatch after, even if you're not a member. So stick around for that. That's going to be great. And I think that's about all we've got for today. So like we said, be sure to go support Lucas Hatton's channel. If you want updates on North America's from the 3 that podiumed last year, go check out the Chalk Bowl podcast. And for all your general information, big thank you to Strongman Archives for this, because not sponsored or anything. We love Strongman Archives because they keep us informed for all of these strongman competition results. So if you can't watch the show, I'm sure the results will be posted on Strongman Archives as they get them. And that's all I got for today for me. So anything else for you, Brandon?
Nope. I hope everyone enjoys enjoy your week, and hopefully next time we catch you, North America's Strongest Man results are in, and I was right about everything.
Yeah, of course. And we know that's not going to be true because I will be right about everything as usual. That's all we got for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe, all that typical YouTube stuff. And stay tuned. I'm going to try to upload these every Sunday is ideally the routine that we're going to have. And make sure to follow our Instagram for any clips and all that kind of stuff. So
just have a great day, everybody.